Hey guys, so I just actually finished recording my God Rank Grind video, and I noticed that there is a new post in the news tab of the game. This is a newsletter, Legends Team newsletter. Let's see what it says. I have not looked at this ahead of time, so this is going to be me experiencing this initial reaction first time. The news details future character abilities and addressing how battles are experienced. Seems like I don't even, it seems like a very overarching thing here. All right, let's see what they say. How long is this? Wow, this is very long. Okay. Okay, let's just get right into it then. Thank you for your continued support of Dragon Ball Legends. Dragon Ball Legends will be celebrating its 7th anniversary this year in May. To make this special year as exciting as possible, as well as to ensure Legends can be played and enjoyed for many more years to come, we are currently hard at work on a massive version update. Yes, we've talked about this prior a few times. I think this is going to be probably like just the biggest update we've ever seen. Hopefully we'll see. Remember, they are increasing the minimum memory requirements needed to run the game. So that does definitely mean that we should be seeing a mass update. Here we will explain some of the challenges that Legends is facing with regard to character abilities and the effects those abilities have on the battle experience. Before I even look, I'm just going to scroll up. I'm just going to tell you what it is that is the problem. The problem is, let me open this. Let me just open this page here. The problem is, let's just open up the newest character. The problem is that this is one ability. This is a problem. A mobile game where this is one ability, that ain't gonna fly much longer, right? Because all that's gonna happen is this is gonna become longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, and people ain't gonna read that, right? So that is the problem. Let's see if that's what they talk about here. Yeah, okay. To make character abilities easier to understand and to return to battles where a variety of elements and distinct character abilities are viable. Okay. You know, the stated objective sounds good. Current challenges. Since release, we have introduced many different characters in order to deliver unique gameplay experiences. However, a large number of characters have abilities that are too broad, and this has damaged the original appeal of Legends battle experience. In this notice, we will explain the 3 major issues we have identified and the ways in which we plan to address them. A lot of information will be covered, but we hope you'll read through it when you have the time. Okay, I do agree. I do think that when you have characters that have like literally multiple paragraphs as just one ability, this is only one ability. We have 2 unique abilities on this character, and then you have limited abilities, you have Z abilities, you have strike cards, blast cards, green cards, blue cards, ultimates. Like it's for a mobile game, it is a lot. It is. Homogenization of abilities. In past PvP metas, arts card draw speed up was a distinctive ability usually given to characters who demonstrated strong combo abilities in the original series. On the other hand, tag regeneration characters would have abundant ways to restore their health. In other words, each character had distinct characteristics. As more and more characters have been added, the number of characters with any given ability has increased. As a result, characters have become more and more homogeneous, making their individual characteristics harder to grasp. Another example of this is element disadvantage nullification for damage sustained, which were only given to a select few units at first. Over time, many characters have started getting these effects, making it harder to enjoy element-based strategies. So what are they saying here? They're saying, essentially, as the game has progressed and as power creep has progressed and grown over the past 7 almost years that this game has been out, we've gone from having characters that had very distinct identities to characters that have almost no identities. Like, there are definitely, I think they've actually tried and done a pretty decent job of this year, but this is actually something that I've talked about. If you go back last year, I think I did a video about this at the end. It might have been Legends Fest Part 1. Like, I did like a mini rant video, and I do talk about this at length. You know, looking at like Tree of Might Goku. Oh, he's got cover null. He's got double card draw speed. Gotenks has cover null, double card draw speed. Vegito has cover null, double card draw speed. Super Saiyan 3 Goku has cover null, double card draw speed. It's like all these characters are basically just the same character. Again, I think they have been actually pretty good about this in 2025. A lot of the characters released this year have a pretty distinct identity, I think at least. But there, yeah, up until this year, there definitely have been a lot of samey type of releases where it's like, it is Vegito, but how does Vegito really differ from Gotenks? It is Gotenks. How does Gotenks really differ from Tree of Might Goku? It is Tree of Might Goku, but how does he differ from, you know, like Ultimate? Like, again, a lot of these characters are really just same character, different skin, I guess is the best way to describe it. So that's what they're addressing here, and I do actually agree with this. But again, I think in 2025 in particular, they have made a concerted effort to address this already. So I think we're on a good track with this, but we'll see. Increasing characters with high combo power. The same issue has occurred with special cover change nullification and draw speed up effects. With combo capabilities continuously on the rise, matches often devolve into one-sided affairs where one player is on the receiving end of a lengthy combo. Some of you can probably recall times when you could only watch helplessly after a single mistake led to a long combo that eventually destroyed your entire party. Currently, there are few opportunities to switch from defense to offense and vice versa, and this has damaged the play experience in battles. One thing I will say about this I think this is probably much more of an issue at lower star levels. When you have players playing with each other at higher star, like if you have a full 14-star player fighting against another full 14-star player, I think this is much less of a problem, because of the way that scaling works in this game. But obviously that pertains to a lot less of a audience, and like most players don't have very high starred characters, right? So that is a thing, but yes, I think we all could agree that this is a problem. All right, the third one is increase in complexity and length of character abilities. Oh, you don't say. You don't think this is a problem? You think this might be kind of an issue in the game? That's a mobile game. Is this enough text for like certain abilities? Is this too long? I didn't know that. Another result of single characters having such a wide variety of abilities is that the text of abilities has gotten quite long and difficult to understand. The conditions for activating abilities as well have only been getting more complex. They are difficult to parse for players who just started, but we expect they are also difficult for veteran players too. Yeah, I mean, even for me, like if you pull up, I don't even know, like if you pull up like, we could even talk about like Vegeta. Like, how many of you actually know that Vegeta like heals the team when he kills an enemy? The following effects occur when an ally defeats an enemy: destroys a Dragon Ball and restores own health by 20%. Like, who actually remembers that he does this? Like, obviously there's going to be players that do remember this, but like, you're not going to remember everything about every single character. It's literally impossible. Like, what does second form Cell do? Does anybody know? Besides just draw a bunch of green cards, what does this Goku do? Right? How many times does Tamagami remove buff effects? Like, nobody knows everything. It's impossible. We consider the cause of both this issue and the aforementioned homogenization to be individual characters having too many abilities. The following sequence has contributed to this. Number 1, combo capabilities increase due to special cover change nullification, draw speed up, etc. I mean, yeah, but I mean, they're so okay, but they're kind of to blame. Are they not kind of to blame for this? They literally gave us auto counter gauges. So you're saying that, oh, let's release a character like this. Oh, let's release a character like this where you literally have guaranteed ways to stop combos. Like, this is what I was talking about in that video that I mentioned. In fact, I might actually put a link to this down below where I talked about this initially, but when Vegito Blue came out, I talked about his mechanic, his quote-unquote nullify everything mechanic. Let's see if I could even find like the wording of this. Here it is. Applies buff effect, nullifies enemies' auto counters, evade actions, and special actions that activate when it's basically, okay, this is what I dubbed the nullify everything mechanic. This exists because this exists, and this exists because just cover change nullification exists all over the place. So like, it kind of feeds into itself. We're in a cycle that never ends, is basically what I'm trying to say here. Number 2, hand destruction, key reduction, and other disruption effects increase to combat those combo capabilities. Number 3, hand destruction nullification, key reduction nullification, attribute downgrade nullification, and similar effects increased to combat those disruption effects. Yeah, I mean, they're literally saying what I just said. We have problem A, problem B to solve problem A, but then problem B gives rise to problem C, and then what do you think is going to happen next? Oh, I wonder if problem D is going to come up after problem C. Yeah, the answer is yes. Another factor contributing to this is that internally we had set a limit of 70% for sustained damage cut effects when deciding character abilities. This was done to avoid possible confusion about all damage being reduced to 0 if damage cut effects were to exceed 100%. That is why you will now see characters have abilities like this, that we see 70% here, but then we also see additional damage reduction to other specific damage types here, right? So we have 70% all-purpose damage reduction, but then we have impact, explode, and pierce damage reduction by 20%. This is separately calculated, but this is the way that they're kind of moving forward past the internal 70% limit here. How sustained damage cut works. Sustained damage cut effects cancel out the enemy's inflicted damage up effects. Even if sustained damage cut were to exceed 100%, this would not make all damage received 0. Yeah, I think we all know how that works. To prevent confusion, we intended to stay under the limit by maintaining defensive abilities with hand destruction and recovery effects instead of more damage cut effects. But this is also a problem because now we have characters like, hold on, let me pull them up, like Majin Ku, who not only have 70% reduced damage received, not only have 15% reduced damage received against impact damage, but we also have, where is it? Where's all this stuff? Applies the following effects self when faced with enemy. Card destruction, key reduction, type neutral, more card destruction, more key reduction, paralysis. Like, we look at this. It's just, it is not just sustained damage cut. It is this, but it's also this. Hand destruction, key reduction, like all this nonsense. It's all contributing to the same problem. Okay. Addressing these issues, we plan to gradually implement the following improvements to these issues. Okay. Adjustments to combos incorporating steps, etc. Step combos. Card draw and key recovery are reduced during step combos, but in order to prevent excessive comboing, increasing that reduction amount is being considered. Okay, so they're going to further increase the penalty for essentially charge and sidestepping, is what they're talking about here. Which, I mean, again, I just recorded this God rank video. That's just going to make characters like Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. That's going to make them even better because a lot of times you're not even like charge or sidestepping. You're just pressing cards with them. Okay. Adjustments to activation, timing, and length of special cover change nullification. Recent characters have already been released with these balance changes in mind. We plan to avoid giving future characters excessive amounts of special cover change nullification. Specific example, Legends Limited Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta only gets 5 counts of nullification. I actually think you could make an argument that he doesn't even need this. I did talk about this. Again, I just recorded the God rank video, so I'm kind of going off a lot of the same talking points that I mentioned in that video. He is actually so powerful offensively. I don't think they probably would have done this, but there's at least an argument you could make that he didn't even need this. He's that strong. But this is, I guess, kind of good that they're thinking about this. But, you know, Goku here. Goku here's got 10 counts. And then he refreshes this when he gets his gauge up. So I don't know if I buy that, but and then also Cell. I guess you can kind of throw Cell in there. Cell gets 10 counts, but he cannot refresh the his special cover change nullification. He can only get 10 counts on entry, and that's it. But Goku refreshes it. The special cover change nullification effect will not be discarded. We will continue to make adjustments in order to create metas where special cover change nullification can be used more effectively. Adjustments to length and activation opportunities for element disadvantage nullification. This is like type neutral. We consider a variety of factors when deciding the element of a new character, but one of the most important is whether specific parties need a given element. Yeah, that is so obvious. That is, I feel like I have a pretty good track record of calling what type characters are going to be. I think. I mean, it's not 100% obviously, but Whenever I try and predict what typing a character is going to be, I will always, let's just say we're getting like a new Kefla next. I'll go into, I guess we should just do this. I'll go into like, okay, let's pull up Green Kefla. Okay, let's pull up all of her teams. Saiyan, Universe, it'll be Universe Reps, Fusion Warrior, and that's it. Those are like the 3 main teams. Okay, what does Saiyans need? Okay, what does Universe Reps need? Okay, what does Fusion Warrior need? And I'll look at the teams and I'll rank like what are the most likely color options based on her main teams. That is clearly how they've done this forever, which makes sense. However, element disadvantage nullification has increasingly been used as a way to ensure characters have competitive abilities in the meta when they are released. Features characters they have an element disadvantage against. Yeah. Examples of characters released into unfavorable metas would be Legends Limited Super Saiyan God Goku or Legends Limited Omega Shenron. I think there's a pretty big difference between these characters, but I understand what they're going for, right? Like, God Goku released next to Purple Ultimate Gohan. Omega Shenron released right after Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, right? So they have, they were given these buffs because of that. In order to emphasize the fun of building teams around elements, we intend to reduce the length and opportunities to activate element disadvantage nullification. Instead, we will adjust more fundamental abilities like inflicted damage increases or sustained damage reduction to balance characters. Adjustments to disruption and recovery abilities. This to me is probably the most important thing. This is important too, but this is culprit number 1 of the Daima team being ridiculous. The limit on sustained damage cut effects was one of the causes for the increase in disruption and recovery abilities, and so it has been removed. Damage cut effects will now be called Damage Guard. No changes will be made to how they function. Okay, let me just read this one more time. The limit on sustained damage cut effects was one of the causes for the increase in disruption and recovery abilities. And so it has been, when they say it has been removed, I think they mean moving forward. Damage cut effects will now be called Damage Guard. No changes will be made to how they function. So essentially what they're doing, and this is why they prefaced this with explaining how sustained damage cut works, they are switching the wording of this mechanic from sustained damage cut to damage guard. And it looks like they're also now going to start exceeding 70% damage guard to 75%, 80%, whatever the number is going to be. So that is, I guess, how they're going to fix this. And in addition to that, they are going to reduce a lot of the disruption abilities, I guess, right? Because it says the 70% limit that they set on this internally was one of the reasons why they started giving us way more disruption abilities, which is why we have characters like Majin Ku, who's like destroying 3 cards, reducing ki by 90, and paralyzing you, and like all this nonsense. Sealing your main ability, like, yeah, that's why that exists. We plan to gradually reduce excessive disruption and recovery abilities in future characters, making up for the difference with more fundamental abilities. Specific example where reduced ki by 40 would have been considered previously, the character will instead get reduced ki by 20 and higher damage guard values. So maybe like on cover change, the character will get, like, this is what they used to do, right? When a character would cover change, they would get more damage reduction. That's the way it used to work. I guess they might go back to that. Starting in April, characters will have greatly increased values for effects like inflicted damage up and damage guard. Yeah, but that's, what do you mean start? We already have that, right? This Super Saiyan 4 Goku has 280% damage. Like, this is already a thing. We already have this. Previously sustained damage cut, but their overall power will not be drastically stronger compared to existing characters. Yeah, they're just kind of consolidating, I guess, all of these effects into more easy to understand abilities, which I guess is the objective they had, right? Revisions to ability text. Ability text has become so lengthy that it becomes hard to understand, so we will be addressing that issue. With the goal of making the abilities of future characters easier to read and understand, we are revising the rules for ability text. We will also be moving excessive explanatory text to the in-game help. Ability effects that activate at the start of battle are being moved into a new starter ability section. we plan to consider other solutions such as turning specific effects into icons. The new ability text is still a work in progress, but here's a sample. Something they need to do, and this is something I've talked about at length, is to change the way the buff bar works. We need to be consolidating buffs, consolidating debuffs. I should be able to look at my buff bar. I should be able to look at the enemy's buff bar and understand what in blue blazes is going on, right? It shouldn't be hieroglyphics. There should be a very easy to understand display system, UI system, that I can look and see, okay, this character is taking more damage from blue cards. Okay, this character has a cost increase. Okay, this character has key reduction, or whatever the effects are. I should be able to look and see that and immediately tell, okay, that's what's going on. That's what they need to work on. Specific example, before applies buff effect, nullifies enemy special action that when changing cover to self for 3 timer counts, nullifies special cover change 3 counts. Okay, I mean, yeah, that is just an abbreviated version, right? This is very robotic. This is more human. I guess that's the best way to describe that. Summary of planned adjustments. Those are all of the adjustments currently planned. We will begin to apply them to characters being released in April 2025, and the number and complexity of abilities will be reduced gradually over an extended period of time. We are doing this gradually to prevent new characters from being unable to compete against those released before April 2025. In the current meta, if you were to build a party around a character who was given 200% damage guard in exchange for having little to no combo stopping capability, it is possible you would never be able to stop your opponent's combo. Wait, hold on. We expect you would simply lose after spending 180 timer counts being comboed by your opponent. Dude. Who wrote this, dude? Whose fault is that? We are making adjustments with the overall meta in mind to ensure characters are not weaker because the number of abilities has been reduced. Ultimately, our goal is to make character abilities easier to understand and to return to battles where a variety of elements and distinct character abilities are viable. We do not intend to make a game where characters compete using only their base stats. Which means they don't want to oversimplify it either, I guess, right? Conclusion, with each new character release, abilities have gotten longer and more complex. As Legends celebrates its 7th anniversary, we're working hard to address this issue and make Legends battles more exciting than ever. Our goal is to make character abilities easier to understand and to return to battles where a variety of elements and distinct character abilities are viable. We fully understand that this will put a lot of pressure on you, our players, as you adjust to these new changes, but we hope we can make up for it by delivering new and better battle experiences. We humbly ask for your patience and understanding. Our team is hard at work making Legends even more fun so that it can be played and enjoyed for many more years to come. As always, we hope you continue to enjoy Dragon Ball Legends, Toshi and Tani, and the Dragon Ball Legends management team. Okay, so I think the biggest thing I took away from this is there's a lot in here. This might be the longest producer letter we've ever seen, or I guess the Legends team newsletter we've ever seen. But they really are trying to, I guess, bring the game back to the way it felt before. I don't know if I want to go this far back, but I mean, I would consider Legends Fest 2021 onward to be modern Legends. I'm wondering if they want to kind of step back to a period before that and reshape the way the game is going to progress moving forward to be more based around how the game felt like in like the 2nd year or the 3rd year. That's what I'm really taking away from this. And the biggest takeaway, I guess, is, I mean, this is going to be tough to do, man. They are trying to curb like the nonstop combo issue. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't talk about auto counter gauges in this. It seems like that is a pretty big issue, at least in my experience, and I think a lot of people kind of agree with that. Auto counter gauges existing because of the no, where was it? wherever they talked about characters comboing for too long, auto counter gauges exist because of that, right? The obscene omnipresence of card draw speed and special cover change nullification, right? This being on every character, not just one level card draw speed, 2 levels of card draw speed, cover change nullification upon entry, like all these things. The auto counter gauges exist because of this, right? I mean, I guess other disruption effects kind of falls into, like, auto counter gauges kind of fall into other disruption effects. So I'm kind of thinking, are they going to just discontinue auto counter gauges? That would be good. I mean, if they are talking about legitimately reducing the amount of disruption effects that exist in the game, then honestly, the first thing you get rid of is auto counter. That should just not exist. I'm also really concerned that they didn't even talk about AoE green cards. I don't know how they don't see that as a big problem. I mean, maybe we'll actually see the effects of that when we, like, I don't know, because again, I still think there needs to be tweaks to the battle system. The battle system changes, I mean, I think people are kind of still split on it. I haven't really seen many people talk about them recently. I think they just promote even more passive gameplay, and it really, again, still just makes AoE greens even stronger than before. So we'll see. I still think they need to adjust the battle system, and I think in that adjustment we could see a change to AoE greens or something. I think what they should do is they should just give every single character baseline innately has 1 AoE green nullification just built into the character, and then we can have certain characters that have additional nullifications. But it looks like they are trying to just limit the amount of abilities that characters have. Every character shouldn't have card draw speed. Every character shouldn't have type neutral. Every character shouldn't have, you know, sustained damage cut, penetration. Every character, like all these effects that are in the game now, like we have all of these traits here. Every character shouldn't have all of these traits. That's what I think it's leaning towards based off of what I'm reading here. But like they said, the difficulty that I see in this, and I guess we're going to really start to see this take form in April. I think the first major release in April should be the 16th. That's when we should see the LF in April. I guess that'll be the first true test of this, but are they going to be able to give us a character that has less mechanics, but more potent mechanics, and is still able to compete with characters like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, like Majin Vegeta, like Beast Gohan, like Ultra Cell? Is that going to work, or are they just going to get crushed? Right? They even, like, this is my favorite paragraph of this entire thing. I'll read it again because it's so funny. In the current meta, if you were to build a party around a character who was given 200% damage guard in exchange for having little to no combo stopping capability, it is possible you would never be able to stop your opponent's combo. So the difficulty is going to be releasing new characters with less abilities but more potent abilities that could still compete with characters that have these really big kits, because they can't just go back and adjust every single character that exists in the game. They're going to have to release these new characters and gradually sort of like shape them to be what their vision is of the game moving forward. So yeah, that is a long Legends team newsletter here. Let me know what you guys think of this. This is a pretty big one, and I think it's going to affect the game very heavily moving forward. We still don't really know what the meat and potatoes are going to be for this massive update coming out in a few months. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Interesting insight into what the developers are kind of struggling with, I guess, a lot of their struggles and plans moving forward. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one.